Hey guys, thanks for joining me in this session of the Developers Corner of Secret Summit. My name is Itzik. I'm VP of Engineering at Secret Labs. Um, and I want to tell you a little bit about um, secret contracts and about how I like to develop secret contracts, what my best practices are. And I think the best way to do that is to show you guys, like talk a little bit about an example and really demonstrate things a little bit. And I apologize in advance. This session will be a little bit more developer focused, a little bit more into the technical details of actual contract development. And if you're not familiar with Secret Network, you'll find this probably super helpful if you're wondering how to get started. And if you are, then I also hope that I'll have some tips or some interesting things for you to integrate into your own development workflow, your own contracts. Okay, so what I want to talk about is the simplest game of incomplete information, rock, paper, scissors. And if you've never been a kid and you don't know what rock, paper, scissors is, rock, paper, scissors is a game of two players. They both simultaneously choose one of either rock, paper, or scissors. Rock beats scissors, scissors beat paper, paper beats rock. We're not going to use the lizard Spock variation, keeping things simple. And this game, while it sounds, really simple and a really trivial application, if you think about it, in most blockchains, since they are public, is really something that's not that easy to do, because blockchains, they run, every time a user interacts with an application, that's a transaction. So you always have, user A sends, his choice first, and user B can just wait. And then, if the chain is public, then they look at the chain, they see that user A has selected, rock, for example. So they just, they have this easy way to, always win. So these types of games that have incomplete or hidden information are, really, really hard to do on a blockchain. Secret Network, however, does things a little bit differently. Since, the user's transactions are by default encrypted, then, if you look at the blockchain and you're looking to, get some more information, do a little bit of cheating, you really can't do that, because all you see is this, encrypted blob of data that the user is, has sent. So, Secret Network really sort of highlights, the importance of having applications that can use private data, confidential data, hidden information, all that good stuff. So I think I'll just, show you guys a demo of how this looks like on chain. We'll also have, this demo publicly available, so you can play with it yourself. And everything I'm going to show will have links to public repositories, so you can set it up, play with it, customize it, do whatever you want to do. This is an example that's running locally on my machine right now, and I'm just going to run through a simple game here. And while I run through it, I was going to say that one of the cool things, the reason it was so easy to create an example like this on Secret Network, is that as a developer, All I have to do is worry about the logic itself. So all I have to do is create, a way for players to interact with my application, to send in their bet, and then just perform simple logic checks inside the contract and return the result. I don't have to worry about how do I encrypt, the user's data, or how do I hide, the current state of the game, or anything like that. The network takes care of all of that for me. Yeah, so my apologies, live demos. This is an example of a new game. I set up I set up a new game, choose my name, and then I get a game code. And this game code, you might be familiar with this schema from other games or things of that sort, where you get this game code and you can share it with another player. That's how he knows how to join. So we have this game code over here, and we'll call ourselves Bob. Call ourselves Bob, join the game. We interact with the network to join the game, and once we do so, both players are in the game and the game has started. So we have two players in the game. Just to make things interesting, each player bet one secret on the result of this game. So the winner is going to get 2 secrets, loser gets nothing. It's all fairly straightforward. Player 1, they select rock for their choice, and once they do that, both the contract changes its state. Now it's waiting for the second player to make their choice. The second player doesn't know what the first player chose, so they go with scissors. That's what they're hoping to win with. And let me close all this background stuff so there are no more interruptions. There we go. There we go. And just in time to see the results of the game. One player won, one player lost. It's all really simple, nothing too surprising here. And we really didn't have to, know anything about encryption or, anything like that. It just sort of works. So I'll put this aside here, and now I'll dive into a bit more of the technical side of things, of how to get started, or also how I like to get started with a new contract, a new application. So usually either I'll clone an existing project, or I'll use the Secret template. And Secret template is a really powerful tool. If you know CosmWasm, or you're familiar with other Cosmos chains, then you probably know this template from vanilla CosmWasm. We have a modified variant with all the secret specific boilerplate and batteries included kind of functionality that you want to get started. And to do that, you have your 2 simple commands. I can just show it working just for the fun of it. I'll let's see, bring up a terminal here. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, then I'll pull up another one. There we go. Here, a terminal that works. Just set up the dependencies, and easily enough we'll choose a name. Let's call this RPS, for example, and there we go. We get like all the everything we need. And in Secret specifically, you have some custom tools, but generally speaking, development is very similar to what you would expect from other chains. So you sort of use the same packages. You can also use like COSM-WASM specific, tooling, CW Storage Plus or CW Plus, as well as secret specific tools like Secret Toolkit that has a lot of secret specific functionality, viewing keys, permits, SNP20, SNP721, all those different types. That's all in Secret Toolkit, and everything from standard COSM-WASM, that's also available as well. So you get everything you would expect, yeah, that's that's the basics of the template. I'll show you guys how this looks in our rock paper scissors contract, and I'll talk a little bit about some differences and things that you might find useful to implement in your own contracts. So I'll switch over to our rock paper scissors contract, and here I'll assume that we've written our business logic already. But what I want to show you is the two types of tests that exist for secret contracts. And the first is what you would sort of expect. I'll actually pull up this development environment right over here. Yeah, so the first, is sort of what you'd expect as a contract developer. That's your basic unit tests. Just want to make sure that contracts sort of function. You have that basic functionality, everything's working. Contracts don't exist in a vacuum. And what I mean by that is that we don't only want to check that our contracts and our applications are working, but we really want to, be able to make sure that, they're pushed to the limit, sort of. We want to make sure that not only like the basic functionality works, but also what happens when we have 10,000 users, 100,000 users. What happens when we have, when our data gets really big? Maybe, we want to test all those extreme states of our contract and see how it performs. How much gas is used, how fast does it work? And unit tests can't really get us there because they don't have that entire chain to rely on and to get information from, and that's where our integration tests come in. And integration tests are, I think, fairly unique in their usage to Secret Network, where we usually write these tests in JavaScript. We make use of the client-side library of Secret.js to do it, and that allows us to write tests that are going to run on our local dev environment, on local Secret, and to really do things that are more realistic with our contract. An additional bonus of that is that if you write these contracts in TypeScript or JavaScript or the language that you're going to use for your UI, then you get these snippets of code for free. So I can take, this initialize contract function and just copy paste it into my UI, or get balance, or here, let's see, I have the getting the game state, for example. And that sort of bootstraps the UI development portion. But the really cool thing about specifically about Secret Template and about the tools that we use is that we integrate these tests with our CI and specifically with GitHub Actions as well. So if I pull up our repository, I'll close this code right over here, and I pull up our GitHub Actions, and we can see that we have these two types of checks. We have the static checks, which are sort of like the basic unit tests, linting, things like that, and we have the more complex integration tests. And if I jump into those, then we'll see that our tests that run automatically every time we add code, these tests run on an actual blockchain on local Secret, which we can see it starts up here, and it does all kinds of good stuff, and we can do whatever we want here. And you can extend this as well. So you can, use maybe a couple of different types of local secrets. You can run your tests on the latest version of local secret. Maybe there's a new beta release. So you can have all your tests run on the beta release of local secret and test how the next version of the network will function. Maybe there's some gas changes, things like that. And that's really a useful tool to understand better how your application is going to look like once it's deployed to mainnet, and how it's also going to look like in the future on different versions of Secret Network as well. So this is something that's really, really powerful, and it comes built in with Secret template. You get this boilerplate code for free, and we really recommend making use of that. Another really important tool is Gitpod, and I really, really like Gitpod. I like Gitpod specifically for Secret Network, and the reason is that Secret has this unique requirement of a trusted execution environment of Intel SGX. And what happens is that even local secret emulates SGX in software. And while it doesn't run, with all the hardware and all the attestation and all, the things that run on the actual network, it still requires, specific instructions, specific software primitives to start up. And on some laptops, like the M1 Mac, for instance, that use ARM processors, those instructions don't exist. So if you've ever tried to run local secret on an M1 Mac, it won't work. And that's, that's a challenge. And we try to make things, as easy as possible. And Gitpod is really the best way that we found to get started quickly and get a full dev environment running with basically one click. So we'll just click on a new Gitpod environment here, and we'll just let it start up. I think we should have one. Oh yeah, it timed out, so we'll just let it start up. And this environment gives you a full dev environment in the browser, and it comes with all the contract code in the repository, and it comes with all the dependencies set up for you, and it comes with a local secret instance that's running as well. So basically all you have to do is build your contract. So for example, I'll just run make build mainnet, which will build a production version of our code, and it'll just set everything up, build everything, and then we can just deploy it and run our tests, or do our development. And the cool thing is that even if you don't want to develop in the browser, all you want to do is run a local secret instance, Gitpod can do that too. And what we did is we exposed all the ports that you would use for your APIs from local secret. We exposed those directly from the Gitpod environment. So for example, if I take this URL right over here, and I'll just steal this tab, all you have to do is prepend the port that you want to use. So for example, 1317 will be our REST API, and then we'll hit blocks latest, and we get our response. So all I have to do if I have a UI is plug in, this endpoint, to our REST API. I can use 255.266.57 if I want to do RPC. There's also gRPC as well, and this, this is something I can just plug into our, my web UI, and I get that instantly set up, and I can have a flow where In the Gitpod, I set up with I just set up and deploy the contract, and then my UI automatically targets this environment, and it has everything set up. It really makes developing much easier. So this is another, Gitpod is another really cool tool that we use, and I would recommend playing around with it and taking a look. We have, all the instructions of how to use it and how to set up Secret CLI and all that stuff over here. Lastly, I won't really dive into this too much, but I'll just show you that this repository exists. This is our rock, paper, scissors UI repository. I'll just, actually, what I'll do? I'll put up all the links right over here. So we have our the game itself, secret template, the rock, paper, scissors contract, and the rock, paper, scissors UI. Check all of those out. If you're fairly new to secret contract development and secret network in general, these repositories were created to be fairly easy for a newcomer to understand, and also to have examples of commonly used patterns, commonly used libraries, and examples that you can sort of copy paste into your own applications. This is basically what I wanted to showcase. A fairly simple game written in CosmWasm for Secret Network that does something that in blockchain is pretty unique. All it is, let's see, I think this is like the most of the logic here. All we have is, maybe 200-300 lines of code all in all. And like, this is what our interfaces look like. We don't have to, encrypt data or do anything like that. It's all fairly straightforward. And yeah, this is just a really powerful example of what Secret Network can do. Thanks everybody. I hope you learned something, even if it's something small. If this makes you excited about what Secret Network can do, join us, on any of our socials, Discord, Telegram. We'd be happy to, help you guys get started, answer any questions, and just join us and come to Secret Network to build. So thanks everybody. See you next time.